On Thursday, March 2nd, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, delivered the 2017 budget statement to Parliament, the maiden one for the Akufo-Addo administration. Since then, there's been a number of reactions. Let's digest a few of the issues that have come up since. Senior Minister Yaw Osafo Maafo, who is head of the economic management team when it comes to the ministers of the presidency, he's joining us here. You coordinate.
Yes.
Exactly. Thanks very much for joining us. So the budget statement is out. We heard from the finance minister himself. But for you, what can Ghanaians expect from this particular budget?
This budget is the best that has happened to Ghana for many years. And it is not because I belong to the government, but because the facts are there. The government inherited a deficit of 10.3% of GDP. You know what that means? And a growth of 3.6%. Don't forget that when Kufuor was living, the growth was 9.2%. Now growth has declined to 3.6 with oil. At Kufuor's time, there was no oil. So if the economy grew by about 9% without oil, and the economy is growing at 3.6, then there's a problem with oil. And the budget did about three things in a row, and I want you to listen very carefully. Now, the budget recognized that we have a very serious problem with unemployment, and therefore, you cannot get a budget that does not grow the economy. So the budget has grown the economy from 3.6 to 6.3. He has turned the figures down from 3.6 to 6.3. So this economy is this budget is expansionist. It's expanding. There's growth. At the same time, this same budget is also brought down deficit from 10.3 to 6.5. So it has also reduced the deficit, creating space for development. And so as far as I'm concerned, it's good. This same budget abolished 7 taxes. This same budget reduced about 5 other taxes and abolished 7 of them.
But your critics say that the budget statement created a situation where you, the MPP, running away from a lot of your manifesto pledges. For example, they say you said you're going to scrap. They said you're going to scrap the energy sector levy, which they say did not happen in the budget.
They didn't read the budget thoroughly. Every political party has a 4-year cycle. We have done 1-year budget out of 4. So if I make 10 pledges, and in one budget I fulfill 6, and you say I'm running away from pledges, then either you don't understand or I don't understand. But I think you don't. We are fighting an election that is based on a 4-year cycle. And I made promises in a manifesto, which was used to fight the election. And that manifesto was my manifesto for the next 4 years.
So we can expect that going forward, then the energy sector levy will still be scrapped.
We would tackle other problems. If anybody thinks that all the pledges of government will be fulfilled in 1 year, then you are being Ethiopian.
Let's talk about the depreciating cedi. It's been a major concern. The claim is that it's depreciated by something in the region of 6% since the NPP took over power. And they're asking you, the economic management team, to outline what exactly you're doing to deal with the problem. What can we expect? Will this continue as has been the case since you took over power?
It will not. But the cedi depreciated because the true economic situation in Ghana came out. The economy, there was a cover-up. Now, when it turned out that your growth was 3.6% and your deficit was 10.3, what do you expect the external investors to do? The external investors will invest. That will affect the level of your currency. So the cedi depreciated because the economy had performed very poorly at the end of December. But now, with the budget in, and the budget has put in place measures to stem that whole economy, to reduce the deficit, to improve our foreign reserves. It takes about 3 weeks to a month for people to respond to such economic indicators.
It's been a week already, but nothing much has changed.
Do you listen to the language?
I heard the language.
3 weeks or a month. The budget was read a week today. You don't expect the reaction to be happening in a week. Please, people take time to make a decision. And we have an investment which you have foreign direct investment to the system. They have to study the budget, see our direction, and I can assure you that the city will begin to stabilize.
Stabilize or appreciate, which of them? Stabilize as in stay where it is now, or the currency will gain better ground and do better than the international currency?
It will stabilize. It has to stabilize. You are not likely the city to appreciate against the dollar. No. That will be Ethiopian. The city will stabilize. So if we are at 4.4, it will begin to stabilize around that number, and that will be all right. Because we have at the end of our program a 3.6 months reserves. That's what the budget has projected. The city to stabilize.
I'm sure a lot of Ghanaians will be looking forward to that. But one controversial issue, free senior high school. The criticism of your budget is that you indicated that funding will be from ABFA and other sources. We've still not been told what the exact other sources will be. But since you indicated that just maybe the Heritage Fund could be used, and the finance minister said, no, that won't be relied on. So where will the funding come from?
Have you read the budget?
Beyond, I have. It mentioned
If you have read the
ABFA
budget,
and
we have
other.
the ABFA, which is 70% of the oil proceeds. People have forgotten that our oil exports will grow from 88,000 barrels per day to 123,000 barrels per day. There's a big jump in oil revenue, and the ABFA will really go up. We are also going to reduce expenditure by minimizing corruption, because this sole sourcing business will cease under Akufo-Addo's administration. And we don't always think about revenue. You think about also minimizing expenditure. If I can do something with 100 cedis and you do it in 150 cedis, the system is worse off. So you must always think about also expenditure. And you combine it with revenue, then you are there. Every expenditure that we have is being taken care of, and look into your annexes in the budget.
And so beyond the ABFA, it's about the cuts that will come from other areas of expenditure. You're not looking at any other specific area where money would be coming.
There are so many loopholes in this economy. The level of resources we are losing at customs, we are losing at the harbor, we are going to plug the loopholes, and this is stated in black and white in the budget. And that's going to be a major source of revenue. That's why I said revenue is not always increasing taxes, as some people enjoy doing. Revenue also means that you must plug your loopholes. You must prevent corruption in certain areas. You must make sure that you maximize your inflow and reduce your outflow by checking corruption, by checking sole sourcing. Because if I can buy something for 10 cedis, why should I buy the same thing for 15 cedis? That is savings, isn't it? Yes.
So those would be the other sources. I'm running up on the conversation, but one other criticism that came up earlier today in Parliament when the budget was being debated, the 1.5 billion cedis that has been allocated to the Office of the Government Machinery, the minority thinks it's very much on the high side, and that during their time, less than half of that was actually allocated to the presidency. What do you say to this criticism of theirs?
How did they define the Office of the Government Machinery during their time? I want the definition before I can speak on the matter.
The Office of the President.
Akufo-Addo expanded the ministries, and he added all the other new ministries to his office. So naturally, expenditure there will go up. But within that are ministries that are also to assist development. So on the other side, you are going to have a situation where you are going to enhance monitoring, you are going to enhance business development. These are all new ministries. And therefore, it will balance off.
They insist, as in the minority, that they've always been ministers of state or the presidents. We recall someone like Fifi Kwete was the minister in charge of financial and allied services, and there were times that ministers of state were serving in the office of the president and had specific portfolios, just as we're seeing now. That's the defense the minority is giving. And so they really don't see the difference, and they don't see the new ministry's justification.